I'm Ryan Smith. This is my field experience program. I had the privilege and honor to work with the North Oconee High School this year under Mr. Tim Griffith. He is a second-year ag teacher and FFA advisor at North Oconee. So I got to work with the North Oconee FFA chapter as well. The North Oconee FFA chapter is a very competitive chapter across the board in pretty much most of the competitions or career development events that the state of Georgia has to offer. But this year I got to work with a forestry field day team. I have some previous experience. I competed in that in high school with the forest disorders competition. But this year Mr. Griffith gave me the honor to work with the land measurement. I really have no background. Well, I sort of do. I did it in middle school, but I forgot how to do it. So I had to go back and relearn how to do land measurement. So in the classroom I observed, I listened to him, had to learn how to redo it and read all the steps it took. And I went and looked at the scorecard as well as the guidelines for the competition to learn how to teach land measurement to these kids here. Pretty much what it is, the students are given a plot of land with stakes around it, and they must determine the perimeter and the area that those stakes hold. They did this by using their step factor as well as a compass to find the bearings and the distances between each stake. And once they determine that, they go and they draw it out on a piece of paper with a 360-degree compass as well as a engineer scale, and they come up with a product. Then the end result is pretty much that bottom picture there with the pink around it. It's not that sophisticated, but this really just find a skeletal drawing of that plot of land. The kid there in the blue is what I mainly work with, and he did a fairly good job. He came a long way because at the start we could not find his step factor because he would always mess up when he walked. We'd measure out 100 feet, and he'd always get a different number every time he walked. So once we finally got that down, we got to go out in the field where almost every day we did something. But when it came down to the local competition, he didn't do too hot. He messed up on his math, which we went over 1,000 times, and he even taught the kid in the orange how to do the math. But he messed up on that one thing, and it made him lose. But if he'd have got that one thing right, he'd have got 100 on his drawing and everything, and he'd have won the competition at the local level. So we're pretty excited to see what he's going to do with the region and possibly even the state if we make it that far. So most people think about forestry, they think about the trees. So I also work with the timber cruising portions of the forestry field day. This is where students use a logger's tape and a clinometer to measure the diameter of a tree and the height to determine either the cord volume or the board foot of the trees. But pretty much this competition is where a student is given 10 randomly selected trees in the woods, and they must determine the board foot or the cord volume of all those trees, and then work out and find out the tonnage and all that stuff. But when I observed, I noticed three things. There's many concepts that I saw, but I noticed three of them that really stuck out to me, and those were character education, vocational education, and the human capital theory. Character education is a huge part in the agricultural classroom. When I came through, my ag teacher, Mr. Stan Mitchell, was big on character. He said that initiative, hard work, and finishing ability get you anywhere in life, and I pretty much use that today. But I know character education is a very controversial subject because some people say character is this and some people say character is that. But I believe one thing that really goes across the whole array of that is respect. And Mr. Griffith is a very good promoter of respect in his classroom. He respects his students and they respect him. Which it was very clear for me to see that was going on. He wasn't abusive in any way, saying that he demanded their respect, but they respected him and he respected them. So that was pretty good to see. And vocational education is a huge part of the National FFA organization. As a matter of fact, the National FFA organization has jackets that the members wear to certain events, and the older jackets, back when my dad was in high school and before then, said vocational agriculture on the back, because they pretty much taught kids how to do the vocational jobs in the field of agriculture, which the field of agriculture has grown tremendously since then. It's not, everybody thinks it's farming and everything, but it's really beyond that. It's like food and fiber systems, but it's even bigger than that, because it deals with science and all that stuff. But the FFA offers students career development events which they can compete in, which tells them more about certain careers that they can seek a path into. But everything the FFA really provides for students, such as leadership retreats, conventions, and the competitions, they all focus around some sort of aspect of agricultural pursuits. So the FFA is a very huge supporter of vocational education by providing students with all the information they need in becoming by seeking a career in a certain field. The human capital theory is the last thing that I really saw that was huge when in my observation, because in the agricultural classroom, as well as other ones such as the family consumer sciences and the medical classes, kids are being taught how to do basic jobs when they get into the workforce, because not everybody's going to start on top, and not everybody's going to go to college, and not everybody's going to get the best job in the world. Somebody's going to have to dig ditches. Somebody's going to have to wait tables. Somebody's going to have to run the cash register. They're learning these things in some of these classes, but I think that there's a lack of that really in most schools, and teaching people the basic stuff. Because most kids don't even know how to balance a checkbook. That's basic skills that everybody must know how to do. And everybody doesn't need to be too proud to sweep the floor when it comes down to it. So the North Dakota FFA chapter is a huge, I saw the human capital theory greatly in there, because Mr. Griffith is teaching work ethic, which is like the biggest thing when it comes to the workforce, is work ethic. If this person going to work, that's going to be they're going to be more worthwhile to a company if they got good work ethic and they are efficient in their job. But North Dakota FFA promotes good work ethic and initiative and finishing ability when it comes down to the competitions, the meetings, and all the events. And even in the classroom, Mr. Griffith, he teaches kids many life skills, as well as skills they can learn in a certain field of agriculture in a career. But in my observation and field experience, I learned a lot of things. I learned that I really want to become an ag teacher, because I want to get back into the FFA. I did in high school, middle school, and it's a great thing because it teaches kids many life lessons. It doesn't only teach them about agriculture. It teaches them life lessons, because like I said earlier, my ag teacher, Stan Mitchell, taught me that initiative, hard work, and finishing ability can get you pretty much anywhere you want to in life. And I really believe that. And I see, as I sat there and observed in Mr. Griffith's classroom, there's a lot of kids, or observing the whole school when I was walking through there's a lot of kids that you could tell didn't really know what that meant, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know. I just want to be an ag teacher and like try to help kids get the same thing I get, because the agricultural classroom and the FFA made me who I am today. And I guess I want to give back to students when I become an ag teacher.